Hey guys, Happy New Year! I haven't made a video at all since I've been home and I leave tomorrow. Today is January 5th when I'm making this video, just there's the heads up in case this doesn't get put up until I get back, which will probably be the case. Because I'm in the middle of packing and all that stuff. Well, this isn't what I want to make my video about, but I ended 2012 by seeing Les Mis. So it's time for another in review. So I'm reviewing Les Mis today because it was one of literally the most beautiful film I have ever seen. Definitely best film of the entire year that I saw. And I'm not one to cry when it comes to like movies and whatnot, but I cried a lot. I cried when Anne Hathaway was singing I Dreamed a Dream. So beautiful. I mean, that's what everyone's saying, right? And it's true, it is so moving. I cried when Eponine was singing, or Samantha Barks, who's playing Eponine, was singing On My Own, which is one of my favorite songs. I cried when Eddie, I can't pronounce his last name, it's also escaping my mind at the moment, dude who played Marius, when he was singing Empty Chairs and Empty Tables, I ended up crying during that too. Just, there were so many moments. I mean, when Garvache dies, I cried. It just, you know, it plays your heartstrings and it's so realistic, with the exception of the whole Marius Cosette romance thing. We'll get to that in a second. But it's so emotional and everyone did a great job. I know a lot of people have been saying that it was great except for Russell Crowe. Honestly, I liked Russell Crowe in Les Mis. I didn't really mind his voice and I thought he did a really good job of portraying Javert. So, and I'll admit it, I cried during Javert's suicide. Yep, I did. It's just, it's one of those things where the actors are good enough to where they can make you feel the emotions. And I think it's amazing that they all sang live, like on set. All they had was like a little earpiece that had like piano melody playing it while they were filming it, but it was still, oh my goodness, I can't even begin. Yet I already have. So, my favorite character out of the entire musical is Eponine, and I think it's just because she's so easy to relate to. Where, you know, kind of nothing's really handed to you, you have to really work for it. Especially in the aspect of love life. Because, I mean, Eponine's in love with Marius, but Marius doesn't see it. And yet she still is there for him, regardless of whether or not he actually returns her affections. And you do get to see in A Little Fall of Rain that Marius really does care about Eponine. It's just not in the way that Eponine really cares about Marius, which is the case for a lot of people in life. And I mean, it's just a matter of how you deal with it. Eponine just kind of put on the face and moved on. She didn't necessarily get a chance to find another, you know, person of interest, but it's still, like, it was still beautiful. And you really get to see how much Eponine cares about Marius at the barricades. And I'm not going to ruin anything for everybody, but there's a point where you really get to see how much Eponine really cares about Marius while they're at the barricades. And it's amazing. Because there is something that they change that you see in the musical that's different in the movie. And when I first heard about that, I was like, really? They changed it? And then when I saw it, it was really a good way to change it. The whole Marius Cosette thing, dude sees her for like 15 seconds and he's in love with her. It's like the one unrealistic part, to me anyways. And as I've talked to a couple friends, they agree. It's the like one unrealistic part of the film. And because everything else you can totally believe, especially for the time period, you know, being put in jail for stealing a loaf of bread, you know, just, it's kind of the way things were. But, like, everything else is realistic, but it's that one little, like, love story And then, but you see how everyone else is willing to sacrifice themselves to make sure that Marius and Cosette end up together. And all it took was 15 seconds, you know? It's like, I'm okay with it in the sense of Les Mis because it's good, but I don't think it's realistic. But you know, you gotta have a little bit of fantasy, because otherwise, what's life without a little bit of imagination, you know? All things. But I was definitely very much impressed with the child actors that they had. They had beautiful voices and they did really well. Castle on a Cloud was a beautiful song, and I mean, everyone really did a good job, even Amanda Seyfried. And I was kind of skeptical about that just because I don't like the character Cosette at all. I've never liked character Cosette, and Amanda made her somewhat likable because you got to see a little bit more of a little bit of a struggle that she was dealing with, because she didn't really know much about Jean Valjean's past, or the fact that he is Jean Valjean. And it's just, you know, it's kind of cool to see a little bit more of her struggle. So therefore, I found Cosette to be a little bit more likable than I do in the theatrical production. But I have to say, I was so excited that Samantha Marks got Eponine, because she's played Eponine so much on stage. So I'd already seen her perform it, and it was already beautiful. So I already knew what I was expecting from her, and she exceeded my expectations. It was amazing. Anne Hathaway did a beautiful job. The amount of like pain you could hear in her voice as she was singing, oh my gosh, it was amazing. I mean, it brought me to tears, which is very, very hard to do. I didn't really know anything about the actor who played Marius, so I didn't really know what to expect from him. I'd seen Russell Crowe in plenty of things, but I'd never heard him sing, so a lot of people were like, oh no, this is gonna be bad, but like I said, didn't really mind it. I thought he did great. Hugh Jackman, wonderful. Like Anne Hathaway, you could plainly see the amount of pain that he was going through when, you know, he was in jail and like all this stuff, especially in Jean Valjean's soliloquy when he's going through the whole, like, after the bishop has shown him such kindness, and how he's deciding, you know what, it's time, it's done, I need to change the way I'm living my life, and I'm turning my life around, which was beautiful. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Have I said I loved it? Yes. I mean, with all of that being said, I give it a 4 out of 5 puzzle pieces. The reason why I say 4 and not 5, because I mean, it is my all-time favorite musical. I do love it. There were a few things that I wasn't totally impressed with, but I mean, it is what it is, and that's just kind of how it is. That's a lot of it is, and I'm sorry. It's not bad. I definitely recommend it if you enjoy musicals. I mean, even then, even if you don't, I still recommend you go see it. It's a beautiful story, and that's really all for today. So next time you see me, I'll be back on campus. Laters.